And all this is kind of almost, I want to say, the garden variety sort of things. I mean, people just mailing out their bills. Now, to go from the garden variety to something that seems more distant, I hope, to a lot of us, we've been reading in the news about Bernard Madoff and the Ponzi schemes and suspicious investment scams. You know, quite a different thing from just the innocent act of mailing out your bill and failing to put it in the big blue box. But when I hear about these sorts of Ponzi schemes, I have to confess, I'm not really clear on what that is. Is there just a sort of a brief description you can give of that sort of a scheme?
It's rather like a pyramid scheme whereby the first level of investors are being fed by the second level of investors, and the second level of investors will be fed by the third level of investors, and eventually it all collapses because you run out of people to feed each other basically on the lower levels. The nice thing, you know, with Bernie was that unless you have millions of dollars, we're probably pretty safe from Bernie. But there are some mini Madoffs that we're seeing around the state. And the best thing you can do, you know, anytime you're working with an investment product, we have a fantastic resource in our state, our Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. They are just amazing. You can call them. They have a toll-free number. And for anyone to be selling a product in our state, something like an investment or security product, they have to be licensed. The product itself has to be licensed with the Department of Financial Institutions, and the person selling the product also has to be licensed with the Department of Financial Institutions. And so if you're working with someone and you're not sure about the product, or maybe you're working with a new advisor or someone that has some type of fiduciary responsibility, it is really worth your time to call DFI, because they can tell you if the person is legitimate or not to even be doing business here in our state. And then it's kind of up to you. I mean, there's, like with everything in our country, the only person who's really going to probably be your best advocate, especially when it comes to your money, is you. And so if you're looking at a product, you really need to do your reading, do the due diligence, look over the perspective. And if that person selling you the product can't break it down in a way that is completely understandable to you, that may be a red flag to you that that's not the product that you need to be investing with.
Okay. Yeah, definitely at the library, since we're in the information business and that we do provide, you know, free, reliable, good financial information either through books or websites. Another organization, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, too, I know is a way that you can check to see whether a broker is or a product is legitimate.
Right.
So definitely, though it does take some, we, as you said, who cares as much about our stuff? Well, I don't know if you said that exactly, but we have to be the guardians, too, of our own.
We do.
And sometimes if those offers sound a bit good to be true, are they a bit good to be true?
You know, there's so much of that happening right now, and it's really sad. I mean, we're definitely in an environment of buyer beware right now because, primarily because our economy is not coming back as quickly as I think a lot of us would have hoped. There are some very unique and interesting scams, frauds, investment opportunities that are coming to the surface, and we're hearing about them all the time, and I don't think our investigators have ever been so busy as they are right now. But again, you have to be your own advocate, and you have to be working with someone who's not only licensed, but you need to be able to trust them. And so you shouldn't feel like you're trying to not have a good opinion of the financial advisor that you may be working with. It's really in your best interest to contact DFI or to contact our Securities and Exchange Commission and make sure that these products are legitimate, because there is so much out there right now that is not legitimate.
Okay. Well, thank you. And we would like to take another short break now. Hi, I'd like to welcome you back to our program today where we're talking with Jeannie Benink from ARP and where I am learning all kinds of information, and I appreciate it so much, and I'm sure all of us do. I would like to talk just a little bit now about specifically telephone scams and maybe a little bit about computer scams, but starting with the telephone, something, whether you have a landline or a cell phone line, we almost all depend on our telephones quite heavily.
Yes,
and
we do.
Although it's a great tool, I suppose it can be something, again, you have to be careful about.
It is. I mean, the first thing that you should be doing is have your phone numbers registered on the no-call list, both the state and the federal no-call list. They accept cell phones now, too. So it's great. The only thing a lot of people don't know is that when you register, your registration only lasts for 2 years. So I call every year on my birthday. They don't care if you call every day and register your number, but just so that I don't ever let that lapse, I have all of our numbers re-upped on my birthday, and that's an easy thing to do. Because one of the scams we've been seeing quite a bit of in our state is something that has to do with a device called a spoofer. And a spoofer is just this little device you can get on the internet. It's about $30. And what it allows you to do is when you call someone's home, it basically overrides their caller ID. And by having the spoofer, you can either make yourself have a male voice or a female voice. And you can program on the spoofer what will come up on the caller ID. So let's say that I am a scammer and I've been watching your mailbox and I know that you bank at M&I Bank. Well, I might get my little spoofer and I might, before that, go down to the bank and get some names of the tellers so that this would be sounding pretty legitimate to you. And I would call you and I would program on there M&I Bank and I would have your local phone number and it would come up. And I might say, "Hi, this is Cindy, the teller at M&I Bank. We've had a bit of a problem with our accounts, and so we're calling some of our customers today because we seem to have your account numbers missing or something like that." And believe it or not, I mean, one of the main things we've talked about for years is that a legitimate business or bank will not call you and ask you to identify who you are and what your account numbers are. That just will not happen. A legitimate business will not do that. But there are so many people who, when they get that phone call, are turning over their bank account numbers and everything to the person on the other end of the phone. And so it's just really important to tell people not to trust your caller ID. If you think it might be your bank or your credit union or whomever, hang up. Call the local branch where you do business and say, "Hey, I just got a call from blah, 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 and this is what they're asking. Is this a legitimate call?" And I would say 99.9% of the times that is not a legitimate call. That is someone trying to get your information.